Your Flow with Darryl Trimmer. I'm Darryl Trimmer. I've been practicing yoga for about 12 years or so, and my main style of practice is vinyasa yoga. Today we're going to have more of a seated flow for you. We'll get started. Just bringing the right leg out and then taking the left heel underneath the right knee. Right, we're going to cross at the shins. All right, so just think about the center of the shins moving down towards one another, and we're going to take the hands just a little bit out in front. Lift up the breastbone. Again, as always, I want you to imagine there's a rainbow coming from your belly button, trying to lift up and over the legs. You'll walk those hands forward a bit. Continue to try to keep that length through the spine. And if you want to create a seal through the legs, you can have that right leg pushing back into the left shin pushing up into your right leg. And just a couple more breaths here. And we'll walk our hands back, shift the weight back a little bit, take the left leg out in front, and again take the right heel or right ankle underneath the left knee. So again, not in towards the hip, but directly under the knee. Cross the shins. Again, as you take those hands forward, breastbone up, rainbow comes from that belly button, reaching up and over the front legs. And find your space as you pull yourself forward. And same thing, if it's happening for you, take that left leg, push it back into the right, take the right shin, push it up into that left leg. And as we walk those hands back, we'll start to get a little bit more movement into this. So as you lean back, you can take the left ankle under the right knee, cross the shins, reach forward. And we're going to come all the way back. And again, if you need those hands down, take them down. Right ankle under that left knee, reach forward. And again, just continue to shift and change. And we'll go for about another round or so. All right, so as we come out, and shift the weight back a little bit, take the feet together, create this little shape with the legs. So we've got about 60 centimeters or so between the heels and the hips. And if you need to, you can always clear out a little bit of space from behind. Take the hands onto your shins. Lift the breastbone up. We're going to get an arch through the back. As you extend the spine, press yourself forward. You can even imagine that you're trying to pull the legs back towards you with your hands. As we round the spine, take the chin in towards the chest. Let the spine open up behind you. Again, send the chest forward. Find the extension. Think hands trying to pull the legs back into your hips. And rounding here. And if you want to connect that movement with the breath, generally in yoga, on the exhale, we find a rounding. And on the inhale, we find that extension through the spine. Just a couple more here. And last one. So after that round, we'll come back into a neutral spine. Take your right hand, send it just next to the hip. Left hand can either come just to the front of the pelvis or to the outside of that right leg. Press down, lift the breastbone up, and we'll take a twist off to the right. And imagining there's a balloon attached to the top of the head, trying to float you up into the clouds. And right hand is behind you just for a little bit of support. And then changing. So again, you're gonna bring that left hand just next to the hip. Right hand, again, can be either right to the center of the pelvis or to the outside of the left knee. Push down through the left hand, give that support through there. Twist to the left, And imagining still that that balloon is floating up into the clouds. And come back into the center. Take that left heel, slide it in right to the center of the pelvis. Take that right foot flat onto the floor, and just imagine that you have the line from the outer edge of the foot to the outer edge of your hip. And again, that right hand's gonna come just behind you. We're gonna get a little bit further into a twist here. Take the left arm, hug the right leg in. Again, that balloon's floating up to the clouds. And then with that left leg as well, you can even squeeze the butt and try to send that left knee into the ground. And come back into the center. We'll keep that left foot where it is, but just slide it over a bit. Take the right foot, join the left. Hands come down just behind you. And if you feel that you're really falling back here, you can always take your block, place it underneath the hip, and of course, just bringing that surface up to you. Otherwise, with those hands down behind you, again, that balloon is still attached to the top of the head, won't go away. Squeeze the butt, send the knees towards the mat, and we're gonna lift those knees up. So just like a butterfly here, just lifting the knees and sending them back down. And of course, they don't have to be fast. Think slow, steady, trying to get the feeling rather than the movement. And last one, next time those knees are towards the floor, we'll take that left foot, slide it out a little bit. Again, think outer edge of that left foot in line with the outer edge of the hip. If you need to, you can even slide that right heel closer towards the pelvis. Left hand, again, comes next to the hip, maybe a little bit behind it. Right arm hugs the left leg. Squeeze a little bit here. Let that balloon help to take you up into the clouds. Twist to the left. Again, same thing with that right leg. Squeeze the butt, push the knee towards the floor. As you turn back into the center, and take that left foot, place it with the right. Heels maybe come a little bit closer into the hip, hands down behind, and send the knees towards the floor, and lift those knees back up. So you're getting that butterfly back into play. And just nice and slow. And last one here, and again, as those knees come back down to the floor, you can slide those hands back a little bit. We're gonna take a little bit of a lean. Take the right foot with hand or no hand. You can send that right leg out to the side, and again, sit back upright here. You know, that left heel, again, can slide closer to the hip. We're gonna turn a little bit towards that right leg. So the right hand's just to the outside, left hand on the in. Your choice as to what you wanna do with the foot. It's a flex, floint, or a point, your choice. We're gonna get just a little bit of movement in the leg. That knee is gonna point out, and then your knee is gonna point in towards your left foot. So just getting some rotation in at the hip. And pointing the right knee out towards that right hand, pointing the knee in towards the left. As we're going through these rotations of the hip, just see if we can keep your sitting bones glued to the mat so that we're not letting them lift, just to get that knee a little bit further over. Find a little bit of control in the movement. So we'll bring the leg back in the center so that knee is pointing up towards the ceiling. And those hands are gonna be just to the inside and just to the out. All right, we're gonna think about going towards the inside of the right leg, and that belly button's lifting up here. Pull yourself forward. And as always, when we go through these little forward folds, we are trying to find length in our spine. We want those sitting bones lifting up and pushing back behind us so that we're able to better get into that stuff underneath the leg. And we're going to shift ourselves back up. Take your hands, walk them over to the left. So now left hand to the outside of that left leg, right hand on the in. We're going to spin a little bit here. So now we've got ourselves sitting on the heel, right leg back behind. Let me just recenter myself on that mat. And as those fingertips come down, squeeze the inner legs together. Right knee's trying to pull forward on the mat. If you'd like, you can keep the hands onto the floor, onto blocks, or if you'd like, you can even walk the hands back a little bit. Maybe the hands come off of the floor. Give yourself a little bit of stability here. All right, we're gonna lower ourselves back down. Again, shift the hips back to the floor. And we'll end up in that same position that we started with, right leg out to the side, left heel in front of the pelvis. Take the right leg. Again, if you need to, you can always lean back a little further. If you want to use your hands, use your hands. If not, you can lift the right leg up. Take those feet back together. And as you recenter yourself here, we'll change sides. Again, if you need to lean back a little bit, lean back. Left leg goes directly out to the side. Again, shuffle that right heel in towards the pelvis. Your choice as to what you want to do with the foot. Again, the flex, floint, point. Find what works. Again, use that knee as a marker. Left knee can point out towards your left hand. Left knee points in towards your right. And just finding a little bit of rotation here. And again, we'll go through one more round. Knee points towards the left hand, knee points towards the right. Bring it back into the center. Again, hands can stay exactly where they are. We're gonna point our body or torso just to the inside of the left leg. Find length here. Again, breastbone stays lifted up. Pull yourself forward. And if you find that you're rounding your back here just to get the head closer to the ground, think lifting it up. Keep one line from the crown of the head all the way down to your tailbone. Again, we're going to take the hands, walk them over to the right. Right hand is just the outside of the right leg, left hand on the in. We're going to lift the hips up, place the hip on top of the heel. Left leg slides back. And we can stay on the fingertips here. Use blocks if you need. Walk the hands back if it feels good. And nice and slow as you squeeze the inner thighs together. Think about floating up and away from the floor. You can even let those arms just lift off of the mat. And lower the hips down. We're gonna send the hips back to the floor. End up in that same position here. Again, if you need to, we lean back, support with the hands behind us. You can lift the leg, bend, bring those feet back together in the center, or of course you can just use your hands and slide that foot next to the right. And as we end up back in that butterfly, hands down behind, lift the breastbone up. Same thing that we were doing before. Just knees up, knees back down. And noticing any differences that might have arose, whether you're feeling a little bit tighter, maybe a little bit looser. Again, just noticing what's happening through the hips and through the rest of the body. And again, next time those knees are down towards the floor, we can shuffle the hands in. We're going to hold this one just a little bit longer. And I still think that you're trying to glue those knees to the floor. We're using the butt to help and aid and assist in the process, giving a little bit of a squeeze. And as you relax the legs, and same thing that we were doing before, you can take those legs out to the side. Use your hands if you need. And for some of us, if you find that you're falling back and you're rounding your spine, you can always take a block as always and just elevate the hips so we're sitting up nice and tall. And if you're on that block, please have those knees bent at least a little bit, right? So we want those legs off at about 35 degrees on either side. Hands can come just into the center. Lift the breastbone up. And just think about the stuff right at the front of the hips taking you forward. And if you're on the floor, you can always have those legs straight or bent. Your choice. Again, breastbones up. Think about pulling yourself forward here. And now we're getting just the inside of the legs and a little bit behind. And it's that pull forward, that length of the spine that we're trying to achieve. And as we get settled in here, just breathe. And slowly walking those hands back. We'll take the right hand just towards that left leg on the inside. Sweep the left arm up. Send the arm over to the right. So we're thinking about really just lifting up those ribs towards the sky on that left side. And now we're going to bring that left hand down, bring the body back up, take the left hand to the inside of the right leg, push the floor towards that right foot, sweep the right arm up and overhead. Again, just let those ribs open up. Breathe into the ribs, let that breath aid and assist in whatever we're looking for. And as we come back up, we'll change. We'll go a little bit quicker through that right hand down to the inside of that left leg, left arm up and overhead. And as we come back up, we'll change again. Left hand to the inside of the right leg, sweep the right arm up. And coming back again. And just a couple more times. And last one here. And as we come back to the center, again, we'll bring those legs in. And we can adjust, and I'll just get down so I'm actually on the mat and not on the grass. We'll lie down on the back. And we're gonna create little robot arms here. Bend the elbows, have the arms hug into the sides. And have those feet a little bit like hip distance apart, right? Feet underneath the knees. And we'll take our time here. Take the lower back, press it into the floor. Use that mat or the floor as feedback. Let that lower back spread across. And squeeze the butt. You're gonna start to slowly lift the hips up. Put them into a bridge. You can roll up onto those shoulders. You can think about those elbows trying to touch behind your back. And still think about engines on back here. Steady and slow. And send those hips back down to the floor. Take the feet together, move the butt. Let yourself relax in between. We are going to go for another push. Just in between each, just let yourself feel what's going on and any changes that might be happening same thing, guys. Bringing the feet onto the floor. You can about hip distance apart. Take the arms, hug them into the side. Find those robot arms here. And lower back pushes into the mat. Use the mat as that feedback. Squeeze butt. Lift the hips. Roll onto the shoulders. You can try to get those elbows to touch behind you. And give a little bit of a drive of those arms into the floor. Slowly lowering the hips back down. And same thing, feet together, knees apart. Let yourself sink into the keep everything the same. Take your left hand to the inside of the left leg. You're gonna pin that leg down. Take the right knee in towards your shoulder. Lift the heel up towards the ceiling or up towards the clouds. Take your middle and index fingers. So as you grab your peace fingers, reach to the big toe. Hook it just on the inside. And then send that right knee towards the floor. So we'll find ourselves in that cat. Take those feet back together. Knees sink towards here. And take a pause. And now if you change sides, right hand just the inside of that right leg. Take the left knee first in towards your left shoulder. Lift the heel, grab your peace fingers, reach to the inside of that big toe, and send the knee towards the floor, towards the outside of that left shoulder. As you release the big toe, bring the feet back together, let those knees sink towards the floor. We've done our halves, we'll do our whole baby here. And as you take the knees out towards the shoulders, lift the feet towards the ceiling, grab your peace fingers to the inside of your big toes, arms still resting on the inside of the legs here. Sink the knees towards the floor. Release the feet. Again, bring those feet back together. Let those knees fall. And bring the knees together. We're going to take our feet, lift them up. Bring the feet over to the right. Press the feet down. Lift the hips in line with the feet. And send the legs in towards your body. And right arm goes out to the side, straight or bent. Left hand to the outside of the right leg. And we're going to take those knees over to the left. And as we're taking this twist here, don't worry about those knees getting towards the floor. And if you need to, you can always place a block underneath that left leg or even between the knees if it's a little bit more comfortable. But I do want you to think about that right shoulder glued to the floor so we don't let it float up here. And come back into the center, and we'll reset everything here. Bring the feet down, and you can shift those hips back into the middle. And take the feet, lift them up. Bring the feet over to the left, lower the feet down, lift the hips in line with the feet. Again, bringing the legs in, to the side, hand to the outside of that left knee, or twist it. Bringing that left shoulder down. Whatever was comfortable on the last side, same thing here. So if you need blocks, use your blocks. And you can straighten those legs, close the eyes, and just take here at the end, just relax, sink into the earth. I'm Darryl Trimmer. Thank you for joining me on Find Your Flow with Darryl Trimmer. Have a great rest of your day.